Hey everyone, this is Themesis. I'm here today to talk to you about narcissists and narcissistic personality disorder. Now, first off, we need to learn what narcissistic personality disorder is. So, the definition of narcissistic personality disorder is a complicated personality disorder that affects a person's sense of self-worth. It also affects their relationships and overall well-being. Some people believe that it's just selfishness and arrogance that makes people narcissistic. However, that's not the case. We tend to put that term on a lot of people who show those attributes, but that's not the case. Psychologists or some kind of therapist has to determine that a person has narcissistic personality disorder. And the way they do that is by using the DSM-5 personality disorder, mental disorder chart, which basically says that you need to have 5 of the 9 symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder before you can be determined to be a narcissist. So, number 1 on the list is grandiose sense of self-importance. Number 2, we tend to determine narcissism from number 2 as well, because it's fantasy of unlimited success, power, beauty, and ideal love. They think a lot of themselves. Number 3 is another one, which is belief that they're special and unique. Now, that is the one that we tend to have a lot of issues with narcissists with, because they do not seem to understand that you are not more special than the person standing next to you. And having that sense of self-importance is a little tiring after a while. But let's go on to number 4, which is need for excessive admiration. Then number 5 is sense of entitlement. And 6, interpersonal exploitative behavior. 7 is lack of empathy, which is a lot of narcissistic personality and shows a lot in males, especially since our society tends to breed narcissistic personality into men, and that lack of empathy is why they tend to have so many problems in relationships. Number 8 is envy of others and believing that others are envious of them. And then number 9 is haughty behavior and arrogant. Now, if you have any of these 5 symptoms, you are a narcissist. There is actual research that shows that narcissistic personality is a part of our society and a, something that they breed into us, especially men, because the cause of narcissistic personality is genetics, environmental, and developmental factors, which shows that it starts from the time we are born to while we're growing up and developing. So when you see someone with narcissistic personality, do understand that society has created that personality within that person. It also shows that their parents trained that behavior into that child, because the parents are the ones that put those thoughts and ideals into that child in the first place. Because at the end of the day, them like spoiling a child to the point that they don't understand the word no tends to breed narcissistic personality disorder. The other thing that parents can create NPD in their child is trauma and abuse. This all comes from growing up with your parents, and that shows that it's a developmental problem, and then the enabling of those personality disorder from people within society shows the environmental problem that basically helps with entrenching those behaviors within that person. It's not completely a narcissist's fault for being a narcissist. However, it is their fault if they do not get help for their narcissistic personality disorder by going to therapy. Because at the end of the day, there are issues that come up with being a narcissist, which is relationship problems, which means you can't stay having any kind of real relationship, romantically, family, or friendships, because you will always have issues with those people and they will always have issues with you. It will also cause your bad behavior will also cause problems at work, which will end up getting you fired, which means you will always be constantly changing jobs, which doesn't look good to bosses that will be trying to hire you. If they see you constantly changing jobs, they will see you as someone unreliable, which is not good. The worst thing about NPD is that at ways they can help you. They have talk therapy, they have psychotherapy, and all other kind of therapies that can treat NPD. So you should try to get help if you can. So at the end of the day, if you want to help yourself, please go to therapy. It's not going to harm you. It's going to treat you and help you with accommodations and learning how to deal with your NPD, and you will eventually be able to have proper relationships with people where it won't deteriorate after time just because you can't control your NPD. But at the end of the day, you have to be strong enough to want help. So please don't use the mental test on the online searches, because they don't count as an accurate tool for NPD. You need to go to an actual psychiatrist to get your diagnosis through them. Those tests can help with figuring out what you have, but it cannot diagnose you. So please check with a professional always before diagnosing your NPD. Also, please if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and share, and please subscribe. Check the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.